Now, as a man, right, you say, real, say, you know what? Stepdaddy's by respect, right? And, you know, I just learned something there off camera that I need to get out. Like, seriously, understand. Let me break it down before he give you the big words and the big terminology. What he's just telling me is, if I were a girl with 2 children, and I play Mr. Lover Lover, right? And I bring her home and take care of her. This is not my kids, right? And be together a year? No, 2-3 years, right? Be together. Listen up here, fellas. This woman could then, this lady, sorry, could then take you to court to mind the kids that are not yours. Explain.
Exactly, because the court considers them children of the family. Now remember, the court operates on a mandate that the rights of the child and the interests of the child is paramount. So if it is you involve yourself with a young lady who happened to have children before you met, and you took them in, and you take care of them, send them to school, mind them, buy food, feed them and everything.
Right.
And the relation between the young lady and you don't work out. The child or the children cannot suffer as a result of that. So then, if the court accepts, based on how your conduct was during the relationship, that you accepted the children as children of the family, then those children are entitled to be maintained by you. Now, the best option to get out of that is to find the biological father and bring him before the court.
Right. So if you don't find your biological father,
well, the burden falls on you.
So, to every man who's out there right now who is, oh God, I know ladies, all they might watch any station now, but every man who's out there with a woman with kids, taking care of the kids, right? When you take care of the kids now and totally fall out after some time, she can put you in court for maintenance of the children, which is
and
not yours.
Don't look at it as a detriment or a harm to the man. The reason for that law is to the benefit of the children. Because if you just say, listen, I mind relation for 5 years or whatever, so I do my duty.
Right.
I go on my way.
Right.
The children is the one who will suffer from that. Because if the mother is not in a position to do it on her own, the support you would have been given over the last 5 years is now immediately removed.
So you can get locked up for that?
Yes.
But it's not my children.
No, but it's children of the family.
These things that's going on right now. These things go on.
You remember, you would have involved yourself in a relationship with somebody, you know. Nope, you was an adult. You choose to involve yourself in a relationship with the lady, with the children. So therefore, you have to stand the responsibility of that. So if it is, and again I'm saying, it's not to be a harm to the man, but it's a benefit to the children, because the children has to be maintained. And if the father is not around, the biological father that is, and you took up that responsibility, you can't get vexed and then say you ain't doing it again.
True. And some way
right? So the children.
So stepdaddies still go to heaven though. It's still
yeah, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. Yeah. It's big up to us stepdaddies, but
I mean, if you love the woman enough to take on her children and stuff like that.
But I mean, when you meet a girl with a child, I mean, it's the entire package, right? That's how I look at it. That means the entire, you love her and you love the child. But I just didn't know that it is your responsibility, even though we're done, she could actually put it up.
She could do that, yes.
And vice versa?
Yes, if a woman meets a man with 2 children and she then becomes the mother.
And I can put her in court?
Yes. Because they are children of the family.
Oh, okay.
Right? So
but you know, we again, no woman who comes to mind nobody child.
No, but the thing is, she minding may not be financial, but it might be motherly caretaking.
Right.
Bathing them, cleaning them, cook, feeding them, and everything else. Taking them to school, whatever. These days, everything you have to have a vehicle. A long time we used to walk and take bus.
Right.
Now every day is a vehicle, you have to pay to travel to go to school.
And it's very important to, you know, someone asked us to talk about the common law again, but you were saying it's very important to keep your bills.
Very, very important.
Very important to every man, Jack, to keep your bills. Before I go back on to the common law, because someone said, hi Devon, good night. If your family dropped a child to your home when she was 1 and she is 6 now, and they never bring as much as a sweetie for the child. They don't call, nothing. And she's been living with me from age 1 to now. She is 6, and now they want her back. What do I do?
Well, as the parent of the child, they have a superior right. However, the family member who has been caring for the child can make an application for guardianship or custody of the child. And if the evidence shows that it is better to leave the child in the care of that family member than to be with the biological parent, the court will make that order. So it depends on the circumstance and the evidence. And not because the person may not have assisted in the last 5 years means that they're not qualified or they're not worthy of the child. At that point, the person will give a reason why they would have acted the way they acted in the past. And then they will have to satisfy the court that they are in a position now to care for the child. And as the biological parent of the child, they will have a superior right. But in the interest of the child, the court can make an order that the family member retain guardianship of the child. Grandparents do that all the time. Because they are normally the ones who get, seated with that responsibility. So sometimes they come before the court and, make the application, and they succeed quite often.
All right, well, we have about 8 minutes to go to the top. For those who missed that last lecture, which was very, very informative, common law. What makes you a common law? What qualifies you? How long do you have to be in a relationship to be a common law? The rights, the advantages and the disadvantages, I should say, of a common law. Because a lot of us, we are in common law relationships.
I mean, there's no real disadvantage, as it were. But what qualifies you as a common law? First thing, living together with somebody alone doesn't make you common law, right? If you want to make an application with the common law, under the Common Law Act, it's under 3 limbs you could apply. Either you and the person lives together for more than 5 years in a bona fide domestic relationship, meaning you live together or you acted as husband and wife in terms of the manner in which you conduct your affairs. You share bills, you share responsibility and that kind of stuff with each other. So even though you're not under the same roof, but you have been doing these things, it could be considered common law.
And they could put you in court.
Yes.
Right.
If you don't qualify for the 5 years, but you in 3 years, let me say you was together for 3 years, and during that 3 years you acquire an asset, then you could apply for a division of an asset as a common law spouse.
So meaning like two of us bought a car.
Yes.
In 2 years.
In 2 years' time.
Okay.
And you could prove that you've contributed significantly to the purchase and the maintenance of the vehicle. You then acquire an interest in the vehicle, even though it may be on one person's name. So therefore, you can make an application as a cohabitant in that situation. And also, if you have a child together, so even though you don't make the 5 years, but you have a child together during the relationship,
you
can
always
also
be.
make an application under the Act.
So a common law individual, a person who in a common law relationship, their girlfriend, but it will be the girlfriend's not wife, could put you in court for certain situations.
Yes. And generally, apart from the general maintenance, custody, access, the cohabitation really deals with division of assets. The division of the asset that was acquired during the relationship. So, as I said, if you make 5 years, you make the application. If you don't have the 5 years, but you could prove that you contributed to the asset, you can make the application. If you have a child together, even though you don't make the 5 years, you can still make an application for the division of whatever assets that was acquired. But as I said last time, it has to be done within 2 years of separation. Outside of that, then you have to make a separate application for permission from the court to make the application, citing that you would, if the court doesn't allow you to make the application, you would suffer some grave hardship. So it's not close, but it's better to make it within the 2 years. Because outside the 2 years, you have a heavy burden to prove that you will suffer. So like if you separate from for 5 years, you all buy a house together, and everything is running, and you leave and you separate, you go on 5, 6 years past, you never make an application for your rights. Then you come after, you have a hard task to prove that you survived so good for 5 years, how now you could say you could suffer hardship if you,
Okay.
So you have to really move quickly.
We have someone on the line now. Okay, guess not. That's it for cause oriented, right? That's it. Thanks, Nicholas. Yeah. All right, we have a UP, we call it a user problem in the back there. All right. So declare on the common law. Now, can you give us some rights that a man really has on
But
in
the
these
man
days?
have the same rights. The man have the same rights as the
So
female.
a man could go and make a report on a guilt for cussing
Yes.
and get
A
justice.
protection order, yes. Yes, he can.
If a man is getting licks from a woman,
Yes, he can go before the court.
if a man gets shot by a woman,
Well, that is a different scenario altogether, but yes.
I know men who get shot from a woman.
Yeah, the thing is, men are shy of making these kind of complaints for the various reasons. But so long as the report is made, they go before the court. And the court will give you the same kind of privilege to present your case. And so long as you satisfy the requirements, you get your protection order. And the thing is, as I said, it's a civil action. So the burden of proof is what we call on a balance of probabilities. So it's not the criminal burden which is beyond reasonable doubt. So if you look, remember the famous statement, 1 slap in 15 years?
Yeah.
That was domestic violence. And the action is, the idea is only 1 slap in 15 years, but that was domestic violence.
So somebody could come back, even if they get slapped, 10 years ago, but we're still together.
Nah. It has to be within the last 6 months or so.
What about, video, like someone said, video proof or recording of abuse?
That is used, but very sparingly, because you have to authenticate who did the video, that is actually the individuals in the video and that kind of stuff.
But you're seeing it though, you're seeing it.
Yeah, but the thing is, the court very hardly uses, as I said, on a balance of probability simply means more probable than not. And it's very easy burden to think. So when you come and you say, okay, the person tell me this, like, they will come and say, I'm scared for my life. Why are you scared? Because the person threatened me. Just threatened to do it, but they sleep with a knife under the pillow. There's no way of proving that. But on a balance of probability, it's quite probable. And if it is the person actually have a knife under the pillow, for whatever reason, the court will give you a protection order out of an abundance of caution. So similar, if a man come and say, listen, I come home and the woman by the door sharpening a cutlass, he will get a protection order. And just out of caution, the court will give the protection order. So long as you satisfy the court that, listen, this is what the person does, and it caused me to apprehend fear, and I am fearful. The court, on abundance of out of an abundance of caution, on a balance of probability, will give you the protection of whether you're male or female.
Madam, before we go, question I had to ask is, so say for instance, my girlfriend is real violent. I go to the police, they laugh at me, they catch kicks, ting. My girlfriend bust my head. Going to the police, they laugh, nothing happened. Now say now, later on in life, a situation happened that, all right, it get real bad. So we brawl out in the road now. After I complain, or she stabbed me.
Right.
What would be the situation in that?
Well, the thing is, you do not have to rely on the police for protection order. Right? You can go straight to the court, go to the JP and make an application, and present your case to the magistrate.
But how long does it take if the beating is
No, it don't take very long. It don't take very long. Because in domestic violence, the court is obligated to give a quick data hearing. The difficulty arises when you cannot serve the individual. So the court have a mechanism, they can order an interim order, even though the person is not served. So
because there are people who, have, situations that they want to serve people and it's either the police can't find the person or it's a friend.
So long as the situation is grave enough, that you can articulate your position before the court. That's why lawyers become important. Because the lawyers may be able to explain the situation a lot better than you. In domestic violence, you now have to go in the box eventually and give that evidence. And so long as you can satisfy the court that, listen, based on what the individual is doing, I am fearful. Even though the person wasn't served, the court could order an interim order for your protection and a fresh summons for the person to be served. And if the police is not serving, you can serve the commissioner of police, claim to come to court and explain why the person is not getting served.
Oh, serious?
Yeah.
All right. You see, we just never have enough time with my tall boy, because there's so much things that we just have to learn and so much questions. We still haven't finished that. We didn't get a chance to answer yet. But, again, I'm going to make sure I bring it back. You really have to get our boy. You have to get our like Winston. Big up Winston. Anyway, there. Respect Winston. All right. So, thanks again.
Most welcome.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your night. Affairs of the Heart.